On June of 2024, Mr. Enter posted a community post talking about some company he was planning on exposing. If you're not super aware, Mr. Enter dabbles his toes in dropper content a lot now. He made a list of people he was gonna expose who were either involved in the company or connected to the people involved. One of these people he listed was Way Rance. If you're an SML fan and saw that, this was very concerning. Soon, evidence came out he was having relations with a 15-year-old, which is a whole lot worse than what was going on with SMR. And as a 20-year-old, may I remind you, it just gets worse as well. He was stalking a specific person on Discord and recording a lot of their convos.
Towards them, as he does about Star Giant Productions today. He was 20 years old at the time, and his age is important to the story because his 17-year-old girlfriend, Lily, was also involved. Amanda, and a user that goes by the name of French Fry, takes us up to 4. User X was the 5th member of this group, and I think I should make it clear one of the reasons that I'm giving them anonymity for this. They should not have been involved in the events to follow for several reasons. Over the course of the winter, Mongrel developed.
Some people, including myself at first, thought this was fake. I remember trying to defend him in the comments of his channel and exposed videos. A lot of people on my page. Heck, even Math Dominus and Super Mario Nick were confident that these were likely baseless allegations. And on top of that, Way said he was gonna make a video clearing things up. So things are looking really good, right? No, Mr. Enter dropped this video on the company, and when Way's section played and showed way more evidence, the hope people had for him being innocent instantly faded away, and for those remaining people who still thought this was a bunch of horse bookie, Way also ended up deleting his channel and socials the second more information dropped. So yeah, I think it's safe to say this is all true. I remember seeing this all going down live. I was in my school's computer room, and we had like 10 minutes of free time. I went on YouTube to chill for a bit, checked my YouTube comment replies, only to see someone inform me that Way Rant deleted his channel. Checked and was sure enough, his channel was no more. I was very taken aback from this. Was also very happy from it, as it had a huge SML reviewers hate boner back then, so any of them thought it was music to my ears. Could you tell I was loner back then? Anyway, Way Rant was definitely a lot more controversial compared to the SMR. He still had a good amount of followers and goodwill, so this was still pretty upsetting news to the community. Not only do we have 2 exposes about the exact same viral topic in the span of a year, but they happen to be some of the biggest channels in the community. So now SML reviewers not only had a reputation of being overly critical of SML videos, but also being predators. And everyone else under the SML review label was getting shitted on for being associated with these fools. There's more than one YouTuber getting in trouble in a community for the same thing, and happened to be some of the biggest people in the said community. The stereotype is going to build for those communities. I mean, look at Minecraft and Roblox communities. All it took was for a few degens to spoil things, and now look that really now should make content for those games, especially Roblox as of late. And SML YouTubers were slowly starting to develop the reputation thanks to the SML and Way Rants. Math Dominus ended up quitting again because of this. Other SML YouTubers started to feel embarrassed to be associated with these guys. What was supposed to be the more critical, more sane sub-community of the SML fanbase was starting to come just as, not even worse than the actual main fanbase. All of Logan and the crew's faults, at least it never got this bad. All of this combined, trust in SML viewers were at an all-time low. At this point, the only becoming members of the community now was Super Mario Nick and Dabhdude. One of these was definitely more respected than the other. Like I already said, the age of Dabhdude was always undeveloped during this time. I would say it's a mix of 2 things. 1, people looking back at his old content realize a lot of it very bizarre in retrospect. 2, his new content feeling more soulless. This second one is more subjective, but a lot of his modern SML content had a very odd vibe to it. Like it felt more like an obligation and something he at least kinda cared about. At this point, I think it was clocking in for most people that his SML content felt like it was being made for monetary gain rather than the whole fill excuse he was giving out earlier. Slowly and surely his channel morphed back to its old self, consisting of SML reviews and reactions with very few videos unrelated to that. Few people such as myself who stuck around to see his content grow and become separate from SML were very disappointed that back to the same old content he was making back in 2018. It drove some of us a bit insane and obsessive to say the least. By us, I just mean myself. Anyway, this combined with the Predator virus that was spreading across the community, a lot of people were suspecting he might have skeletons in his closet as well, considering he was now a very hated figure in the community. Lucky for those guys in me back then, there was a bunch of Dabhdude to dig into and find a bunch of odd dramas and reasons to hate him. Okay, let's finally get into his dramas in the past before we get to the main event. These being the primary reason for his growing hate crowd. The first controversial aspect of what Dabhdude will cover was the nostalgia and post-socialness of his reviews. If you've seen a good chunk of Dabhdude's content, you will know that he has quite the affection for old SML stuff, particularly how he's described it. The golden era of SML, quote unquote, which is mostly just Mario and Luigi's stupid double adventures and videos like that, of him saying he sees that as the peak of SML.
Sometimes I like to think that Logan did leave after the finale to Mario and Luigi's Stupid and Dumb Adventures. Like, who we have instead is someone posing as him. You might for him to never do it. I looked at the decline of Logan's content, and how it was possible for someone to somehow make better content when he was 18 than when he was 26. Up to nowadays. It's because over the years they've still held up well. And yet at the same time, you don't really see people reminiscing on stuff like Windows Me or Windows Vista. This era also was before Logan had a schedule to his videos. In 2014, with the release of Chef Peep, why? Why do I and so many other older SML fans like this era so much? Well, with an amazing finale. I mean, I've said my bit about Season 2 so many times, but I'd just like to say it once more. This is Logan's best series, with a great story, high quality, but at the same time not soulless production values, and... okay, look, just go watch it if you want peak SML content, and you know what, speaking of peak SML content...
like the best it will ever get. Towards a lot of new fans, is an odd statement. To be fair, back in the mid-2010s, it was fairly normal to butter up those videos and treat them like the second coming of Christ. It was that when his contemporaries left, SML bloomerisms came a lot more out of place now the community comprised of newer fans. Nostalgia was heavily influencing his views on modern videos. There were times where Dab tried to deny this, such as in older videos, but a lot of people were sticking to their narrative of him being blinded. People were also starting to think that his hatred for modern SML was coming more from nostalgia than actual critical thinking. There were some people who stand by his criticism of modernist videos and think that the criticism is warranted. But there are also people who think he just grew out of the videos, and instead of accepting that, he fixated heavily on his favorite childhood channel and didn't want to admit to himself that out of the demographic now. What side do I fall on? Well, I lean more to the second one. I don't know if you don't like the channel anymore, it would be smarter to just leave it instead of forcing yourself to keep up. Oh yeah, I forgot, money and stuff. Anyway, another issue people had with Dab was the parasocial aspect of his content. This is definitely the more well-known aspect of him. I mentioned it a bit earlier, but especially in his older content, he treated Logan very intimately, if that makes sense. Acting like he was Logan's only hope, and if he didn't listen to him or other older fans, he's gonna have a titanic downfall.
Advice for what to do regardless, but I don't know if that'll make much of a difference. If I could recommend anything, be from time to time, but nope, when you keep Jeffy in, it's only Jeffy. You have made that abundantly clear at this point.
Like seriously, watch some of these older videos and tell me you don't get that vibe. Anyway, there were two major examples of him stepping over boundaries with Logan and his crew. First, probably the most famous example is that old video he made about Chili a while back. The other well-known example of his parasiticalness towards the crew was his Lance video, where he thinks Lance is some egomaniac based on, again, zero evidence. Similar to the Chili video where he's just juggling off very vague clues that could easily be interpreted as other things. The only thing he really has to go off is the vlogs, and those only show a glimpse of the crew's personalities. So using this as some definitive proof of his personality is quite dumb. It's like thinking behind the scene clips of movie actors, like you're not gonna get their entire personality from a few short clips. Okay, most of the time. I think he got a bit over his head with him being an older fan and having conversations with Logan in the past, and assumed due to all of that he had the right to act like he knew Logan personally. Anyways, it kind of leads into them taking things way too seriously. What I alluded to earlier, that reviewing style was definitely of its time. So it's obvious he is at least a bit inspired by SpongeBob reviews from the early 2010s. It would make sense considering how big of a SpongeBob fan he is. It would explain where he got his idea to act bombastic and be overly attached to things he reviewed, since SpongeBob reviewers back then were very well known for doing that.
Day in the comments. Pablo voices Cody, the Brooklyn guy, and Jeffy's mom. So if you want to wish him a happy birthday, put it in the comments. But we wanted to give y'all a game night because we haven't made one in the entire year of 2017. So
We wanted to give you a game night because we are goddamn lazy. We do not care. I went to 3 sports games over the weekend. And guess what? I don't care about you fans. I care about the money. That is. And
Okay, that's enough. Yeah, this is just wild. He's essentially breaking down and, for a lack of a better word, crashing out on this SML video. This video right here just summed up everyone's growing suspicion of Dabhdude now. That he was a acquiring parasocial idiot who expected way too much from SML. And I feel like I'm saying this a lot, but it really just suffers from being of its time. It's like this was just normalized in the community back then. And now with the community changing so much, that stuff like this is laughed apart a lot more now than it was back in the past. He might have just been in a really bad mood. Maybe he was going through some stuff during the reaction, but that did not matter to his detractors. I just found it embarrassing for someone of his age to be spurting out of plushies. And here's even the only example of the seriousness of SML. His approach of SML was a lot more, I don't know how to describe it, serious, to the point. It's more than a typical cartoon review from 2011, but with SML. It just hasn't aged well. And his style was heavily laughed at by newer fans. People also took issues with his reviews. A lot of people thought he was way too harsh, or confusing like he would rank the video a certain way. Like the comment section for Cody Goes to Kindergarten might as well be a battlefield down there. Speaking of which, his comment section post his return at a certain point just turned into a roasting session. More and more people were being informed of his bizarre blunders and started making fun of him for it. I was one of those totally online people who just wouldn't let it go. There was a lot of people like that down there. The positive stuff almost entirely evaporated. The hate had completely sold into his community. There were other minor issues people noticed in retrospect, like he would use this character a lot to represent the greed of Logan. As a kid, I just thought it was a cartoon character who took offline, but no, it's an anti-Semitic character called Happy Merchant that's used to portray Jews in a negative light, making them out to be greedy. I have no idea why he didn't just get Mr. Krabs or something to portray Logan's greediness, but either way, not a good look for someone who was already getting cooked by the community. This is phenomenal for his reaction to Cody's new family, which, let it speak for itself. There was also the whole debacle of his reactions. First off, he was one of the few SML reactors who didn't have a face cam or some sort of border around the video. They were for the most part just screen recordings of the old SML video, with all the for more IDGAF attitude for some people. But the way he would react, talking over the video, speeding certain parts up, muting certain characters just because he found them annoying, screaming out of nowhere, and waking the audience just for the sake of it. It just made the reactions very unpleasant for a lot of people. When people came in for a structured reaction and opinion of the video and just left them a headache, people would constantly call them out in the comments and about how terrible these reactions were. Barely anything changed between 2019 and 2024. And if something did change, it was very minor, like not doing so bit anymore, something like that. Someone also argued it seemed like he was already in a very bad mood when reacting to an SML video, which heavily impacted his viewers on said videos, which for a lot of folks made people not take his reviews very seriously, since they were always biased in some way. While getting super riled up over SML videos,
I just cannot believe that this channel has got
Power Social, the Ultra Blinded, SML, and making terrible reactions that are not a reputation you want to really have, is still fairly innocent. Nothing super terrible with canceling him over. Well, for most people it wasn't. And especially compared to other SML dramas we just had a few months ago, it was very harmless. But here on out it shifts more to being a bit more questionable. Some of you may have noticed that I haven't talked about arguably the biggest drama battle Dabhdude has ever had. That's right. The beef between Dabhdude and Darkway. "14 days before Dab's 2020 SML Problems video, a video was dropped by a fellow named Darkway called Don't Dab on Me, the Dabhdude rant. And oh boy, this was the patient zero of Main Street Dabhdude hate. Half the hate I talked about before can be traced back to this video. Now when it came to Dabhdude hate before this video, there were obviously a lot of people who didn't like his content.
This video, look, Dub's video, just like tons of other stuff I've seen over the years it's just the next step in a never-ending cycle of stupidity. Like, you know, and then there was the nostalgia critic thing where, you know, he rips on Doug, oh, you do all these sketches, and you make fun, these sketches that have nothing to do with your review, and you make...
Came a bit nostalgia blinded for the old days of having a little way too high of standards for what are basically just plush skits. And having times where people call him out for dumb takes, like I said before, the puppets or some of his SML problem videos. I do remember always checking the comments for Dabhdude's reactions to see people's opinion on SML vids, and every now and then I would see someone crapping on Dab for a take or opinion. But a lot of people such as myself ignored these skeptics of his content, seeing them as just food. SML meat
since 2008.
And
screw him!
Screw
the fact that
Darkway's video was definitely the first anti-Dabhdude video to catch a lot of people's eye, or at least the first one to have an actual impact. This video was all professionally edited, and the points actually had good reasoning behind them. I'm not gonna run down everything about the video. I think it's best if you just watch it yourself. If you can stomach the edgelord 2016 Lord persona Darkway puts on. Gave a basic summary by talking about Dab's videos and how odd a lot of his points were in retrospect. We already talked about most of that, so we'll just skim over it. The real meat of the video, however, is when he exposes Dab's NSFW Twitter account. Not only was he exposing that Dab was a bit of a giver, say, also puppeteering his Jeffy slotty content on that account, which if you don't know what it is, okay, you probably know, I'm not gonna waste your time explaining. Now this is a problem for a lot of reasons, the main two being he's looking at questionable drawings of fictional minors. You can even use the cope of, well, maybe just anime characters look a bit older. Most of these characters have the name Teenage and Kid. The second issue is that most of his audience were teenagers in that SML sucks a lot of phase. Trust me, I was one of them. Well, yes, it was private and had a big 18+ label on it, he still slapped his name on it, making it very easy for some kid to be like, I like Dab, maybe I should check out the account. It was very irresponsible to say the least. Not to mention odd tidbits of his past, like asking a 13-year-old for dating advice. Which, okay, that's not anything that bad, just a bit weird. Shitted on people for uploading his content, really hypocritical for obvious reasons. Getting the dumbest bats of other people in the community, and other dramas, other people. Kinda showing off the guy was a bit inept and sheltered when it came to talking and having civil discussions with people. So average YouTuber. And he also came off really hypocritical since he made fun of Logan for being a big incompetent fool, yet he himself also had dramas where he came off exactly like that. He was also quite the homo hater, like, you can definitely tell he was back in that 2016 era of some of these takes. This was pretty ugly, definitely not something Dab could just ignore. Did he respond? Oh, yeah, somewhat. We uploaded a video towards the end of the year called Dabhdude, Exposed Parody. Let's take a look to see if it's a well-constructed response.
You see, SpongeBob, he still listens to Kelpie G.
Listening to Kelpie G is a crime now?
Yes, it is! Well, okay, no it isn't, but you know, it doesn't matter, okay?
He spent the first like 15 minutes doing some G1 skit. I didn't bother sitting through it. Kind of skipped ahead. The part that actually matters is the last 7 minutes where he actually talks about the drama, and it's very bizarre. I will say, he isn't the right to be offended by Darkway impersonating as him and saying much edgy stuff as him. That was definitely the wrong move, especially if you want people to take you seriously. His other points, I recommend just watching the video yourself to form your own opinion. Skip the last 7 minutes though, since it's the only part that really matters. People were very mixed with the response. Some people were on his side of the whole thing, but those were mostly his friends and people who were very big fans, and people who were very big fans. There were definitely a good group of people who were against him here. I think this comment describes my thoughts best on this vid. Okay, I have a confession to make. I did kind of skim over the video, but still. The 15 minutes of Gmod nonsense kind of tells you everything you need to know. He was not going to take this very seriously. Which, if this was another burger of a drama, I would get why we don't look at this with any serious value. But these allegations of liking, stuff like this, you know, might want to take this a little bit more seriously. But hey, despite a few negative comments here and there, like I said earlier, a lot of his fans were on the side of the whole thing. He ended up making 2 other videos somewhat talking about the situation with online harassment part 1 and 2. I remember the day the second one came out. I'm very confused on what the hell is going on here. These 2 videos were more well received compared to that weird first response that kinda helped better the situation for now, even if again, they weren't very good. Like if there's one thing we learned about Dabhdude is that he is not good at making responses and clearing stuff up. Which is why he often calls on the help of other people to help him out with this stuff. Now, this whole thing was damaging, was kind of forgotten for the time being from a lot of his audience. It wasn't until a lot later during his kind of SML break between 2020 to 2023 that when people started to catch Darkway's video and turn to the dark side. I guess the Darkway side. With the success of this hit piece, Darkway didn't really make it a major part of the situation for a while. By 2024 and 2025, Dab was truly strongly seen as a locale in the SML community. His comment section on his SML reactions was just straight up brutal, and more videos were being made shitting on Dab and covering his very odd past. The goodwill was really starting to fall apart, and if anyone deserves a medal for most chronic Dabhdude hater, the SML Reddit and me should be very ripe for that. But things were about to somehow get even worse. On January of 2025, Darkway rose once again and opened more skeletons in Dab's closet, and this was by far his biggest drama spill yet. He exposed that Dab was actually in a relationship with a 12-year-old as a 19-year-old. Oh boy. But he was catfished into thinking he was 17. Okay, I know that was a lot of dope on the table, so let me give this whole thing one down. So in Dab's 2018 days, back when he had that cool Flamey Cat, SML viewer, you know, those guys, there was a girl that frequented in this community called Dil Pepper. She was a fan of Dabhdude. Her and Dab would end up dating at the beginning of 2018. They would date for 3 months between January to March. A lot of his detractors, like Night Miner, who was also another resident of 2018 SML, was very questioning of Dil and her voice. Night Miner and others jokingly thought she was a young kid due to her voice.
The point against this live stream said it was a joke. It was a joke. I have proof. It was a joke.
That's not true.
It didn't happen, and then we give you evidence. You're like, it was a joke. It was a joke.
Blame you're not actually giving any good points in my
He
He has been the entire time. You ignore every single one or deny it or say it was a joke.
Dab ignored his concerns, saying these guys were just finding reasons to shit on him since, you know, she said she's 17. We all know to take someone saying that certain age online with zero proof is complete fact, right? Okay, to be fair to Dab, it is very hard to backcheck someone's age online, but at the very least, just date them if they're not fully aware of their age. Or at least until you meet them in real life and can fully confirm their age from how they look. Earlier, anyway, like I mentioned a while ago, Dab and his friends had a big online debate. Dab lost hard, it seems. As a result, they broke up with him and hung out with Dab's old crew instead. So yeah, how did he find out she was eventually 12? Well, someone would inform one of Dab's new pals about this whole thing and how she was actually 12 the entire time. So he pretty much got catfished. Yeah, this recontextualized everything about the relationship, especially when you realize they were trading 34 images of their avatars. And apparently in very big quotations, how can I say this without getting my non-existent money taken away from YouTube? Dark siding himself to Phil. Yeah, I'll let you put the pieces together on that. That during that big debate he had, that was the case, but later backtracked, saying that he only said that to know who his true friends were. Yeah, I don't know if I really don't. Yeah, again, I know a lot of people would defend him here since, again, it is very hard to back someone's age online. And if it was just that, I would agree that, yeah, it is better crap on him for this. It's also worth noting that no one who interacted with Lil knew she was 12, and was manipulated into thinking she was 17. Then again, she tricked a group of terminally online inept Discord users. I can't help but think if she was in a more socially active community, she would have gotten away with it. But anyway, that's the point here. Anyway, she was a fan of Dab, and Dab was definitely aware that a lot of his fans were children. Surely he would at least put together that a lot of his fans would also be children. I mean, let's be honest, kids are people with the most amount of free time to trash on Logan, and no adult would be this dedicated to trashing his content. On top of that, a lot of people would say it's already really weird to date your fans, age stuff, since that creates quite the power dynamic. Feel free to disagree with that. I know this is a very controversial take, since I know a lot of people offend him saying that dating a fan isn't anything bad do. The situation is very odd. It isn't cut and dried way in SML, like idiot talking to kids. Like technically it did happen. It's more complicated than that. And we'll never know the full story, considering that Dil was completely racist off offline. Yeah, he did date a child, but he did not come with the intent to date one. He was under the assumption of her being 17, so you can't really call him a predator the same way you could with Wayo SMR. He's not malicious with what he was doing, he was just really stupid by taking the word by just believing him instead of being more skeptical when dating a fan. But it didn't matter to people. To them, the big deal was him dating a 12-year-old at 19. It didn't matter the context or intentions. The fact that it happened was enough for people to call him an EDP. And put him on the same level as Smartco. The second his video came out, all hell broke loose for Dab. The most recent video at the time is his monthly ranking for That's Some More December videos, and he loved taking a shot anytime saw comp related to drama. This time the hate was just too much for him to just swift away. So he made a response video to clear things up, and holy crap, I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating, it is one of the worst response videos I've ever seen. I've been waiting this entire video to rip up into this apology. Let's do it.
Greetings, everybody.
Immediately things are very off. The dumb Kevin McCloy music and TF2 gameplay footage, just really unfitting political pedo allegations. In the way he discards allegations, he just keeps saying, guys, this obviously isn't true, without showing a piece of evidence. Like, dude, if you want people to believe you, then show evidence. Oh wait, he showed one screenshot, clearly that's enough proof. No, just no. You have over 20 minutes of a video showing multiple evidence, and another just over 1 minute of just one piece of evidence. And it's only 1 minute. Oh yeah, did I mention this video is barely over 1 minute? And it ends with a very funny joke. We did not learn a single thing last time, did we? So in short, he just yapped saying, guys, trust me, I keep doing it. I would do this, and come on guys. No evidence, only his testimony. Yeah, very convincing. No one was buying his apology. Pretty much everyone counted him in the comments. In response, even Math, one of the few people up to this point who was still on his side, was clowning him for his video. What's interesting is that someone actually helped him in this video. A fellow named Puddle of Pizza seems to be one of the few people in Dab's circle who was still with him. He co-worked that entire video, if you believe that. I have no idea how two people can look at this and not see something wrong, but anyway, little respect he once had moving away like crazy. Darkway would make a second video on this whole thing, talking about Dab's odd path to more evidence. In 2018 and 2019, Dab had no problem about how sad he was now and constantly baiting KYSing himself. Like this was the result of the breakup of him losing his whole crew due to that debate they had earlier. Darkway mentions that a lot of this came from Nostalgia Egg, his information, and holy crap, this guy is probably the most knowledgeable on Dab H2 in this lore. Like, here's a challenge. Go to any video talking about Dab H2 and see if you can find him in the comment section. Heck, there's a good chance he might comment on this video. If so, hey, give me any heads up down there for getting the information wrong. Anyway, Stored Egg also mentions that all of this really fueled Dab's addiction to NSFW content. And according to him, it's a very unhealthy cycle he has yet to get himself to this day. He did a bunch of streams going on about how sad he was and how much he hates his life now. Okay, I remember Dab doing an iceberg on himself, and he covered a part where he claimed he should do depression streams, and he acted very clueless about it, but stated that one of his friends didn't remember this happening, or something like that.
I literally have no clue what this is about. The only thing about this, though, is that Luigi Channel 50 says he remembers seeing a stream like that, but I genuinely don't remember any.
Odd. Anyway, it was in a video where Darkway exposed Dab for having a Discord server where he would talk about lewd things to his underage fans, and unlike little stuff, he was aware that these people were children. Like, the screenshot, for example, he would constantly talk about gender swapping, NSFW, art, and stuff like that to his very young audience, even encouraging minors to draw stuff like that, or at the very least nudging them in that direction. He would also ask fans to gender swap themselves, which, why? Again, it's like the Dill stuff, where I don't think this is predator stuff, it's just stupidity. Like, it's just really irresponsible. It comes from him just not realizing how weird he's coming off due to being largely sheltered according to his pals, socially oblivious and filterless when it comes to talking to people. This also puts into perspective one SML iceberg. On it, he mentions how Logan sent nude images to a group chat of teenagers, which, yeah, very responsible of Logan. And this is one of the few things that Logan deserves to be scolded for. I would happily take the chance to do that, but he actually defends him here, saying what he wrong with it, saying people were just overreacting and that wasn't a big issue. Back then, when I originally watched the video, I thought he was just missing some context, but knowing what we know now, I can't help but wonder if it was due to what he was doing not too long ago prior to this video's upload that I didn't see any red flags for what he was doing. But hey, I don't know. Anyway, the rest of the video exposes some of Dab's colleagues like Puddle of Pizza and Nostalgia Egg, I don't really care for what's going on there, so I'll just stop right here. But yeah, it just made Dab look even worse. The comment section on his videos got even nastier to him. I think Dab tried to ignore all of this at first, since he still tried to make another reaction to an SML video after his original response. But again, the hate was very loud. Like, every comment at this point was just talking about the drama. So yeah, he kind of had to respond for a much better response than the previous one. So about 2 weeks later, he made a second response. But at this point, it was just too late. Most people had already made up their minds on the guy. Even if the second response was definitely better, though again, it has some issues. Like, you probably shouldn't be showing that uncensored to your young audience, completely uncensored. It's still uncensored as if the writing in the script, it's still uncensored. Also, he mentions how with the Lottie stuff, he didn't know any of the characters' ages, but come on now. Anyway, his legacy was already decided by everyone around him. He's now seen as SML obsessed gooner who had an obsession with NSFW content, and also had a really bad history with minors. What really didn't help was that his friends were heavily monitoring his comment section on the second response video and deleting random comments. Now, Bottle of Pizza, the main guy's deleting comments, stated that he was only doing it because people were spreading misinformation. But in that case, just correct them. Don't delete their comment. It doesn't make you or Dab look good. Anyway, after all of that, Matt Dominus completely left Dab in the dust. He made a video talking about this drama, and he stated that he was always telling Dab to handle this stuff with grace and actually acknowledge it and admit he screwed up and properly apologize. But he would often take the path most convenient to him and just wave it away and continue down this path of destruction. Chessington also ended up cutting ties with Dab. On a video they collaborated on, he left a comment saying he was never Dab's friend, had no clue what was odd behaviors, and only collabed because he thought it would be funny to do collabs with SML reviewers for his short-lived SML ranking series. He didn't initially make a video talking about it, he kind of just shifted gears to other content, talking about a bunch of miscellaneous things. The situation died down, people forgot about him once again. His name was completely ruined now. Anytime someone brought him up, they would just call him a Diddy, quote-unquote, because of the new drama situation. Later on, while working on this video, funnily enough, SML Universe, a new gen SML YouTuber, made a video talking about a bunch of SML degens, and Dabhdude was one of them. The video did really well, brought that back into public discussion for a bit, with people directly from SML Universe's video commenting stuff on its new content. Shortly after, Dab finally acknowledged the aftermath of the recent situation, saying he's quitting SML for good. And he's also planning on making a response to SML Universe because according to him, that segment on him was really terrible. But in my honest opinion, I don't need to do that, considering it's just going to open the door for more drama he really should not be done with. And that just leads us to the present. Dab wants to finally start a new chapter and drop SML definitely. If you check the comment section for that video, a lot of people just aren't taking him seriously, making jokes about how he will probably come back in a few years once the views are low. Which, hey, who knows, that could happen. Matt Dominus has done it like 3 times, so honestly, he brought a lot of this on himself by coming back. Like, he could have just avoided this whole thing if he just never came back to SML content. Coming back just got people to question him and his content, and made him a big target for hate, now that people were becoming familiar with his ugly side. Ultimately, Dab's downfall just came from competence to me. I don't want to come off like a nerd guy, I really don't, but it's clear from this whole drama that Dab doesn't handle stuff like this greatly. Dab's often a lot of potholes that typical YouTubers should really avoid. 1. He relied way too much on SML. He never tried to branch out and do something else. Yeah, every now and then he would make a video on another topic, but it never lasted. He immediately go back to making 50 SML videos in a row. It's very dangerous to roll your entire channel on just one thing, especially something as unpredictable as SML. We should have tried to test the waters earlier with his content. If he did, he could have avoided all the trappings of feeling obligated to do just SML videos. We sell only one brand of food, don't be surprised when people only associate you with that one food brand. That's something he didn't seem to be able to learn or realize when he first quit. I think people cared about him when in reality most people were just there for SML content. 2. He was ignorant of his main audience. It's really odd, despite knowing that most SML fans are kids, and bashing Logan for not being super aware of that, he was somehow oblivious to the fact that his family was also children. Like, dude, look at these comments. So obviously people under 16. This would be a big deal if he wasn't acting really weird about his fans. And yeah, dating your fans, Not a recommended thing YouTubers should be doing. 3. Weird NSFW accounts and just constant thirsting on his fan base. I'm not gonna make fun of him having an SFW addiction. Most of us went down that hole when we were kids. Stuff separate from the audience. No one needs to know how much you flatter Mario Pokemon characters who were underage, may I add. In the end, that just wasn't fit to be a semi-big personality. Again, I don't want to act like I know him. It seemed very likely he was a nerdy, antisocial kid who was not used to having people give him an insane amount of attention. So when he was on YouTube and got that audience he was never really used to, gave him a lot of dumb thoughts and ideas, like opening Discord to groom his audience and such. Lack maturity, boundaries, and social intelligence to handle his growing audience. Pulled a lot of stupid stunts as a result. It's just funny to realize he made his career criticizing Logan and calling him incompetent, yet he himself was getting that same label and also found himself guilty of the same wrongdoing to Logan and the crew board. I took it quite badly. Definitely one of those can't dish it but can't take it things. That being said, I'm glad you're watching this, which is very unlikely but still possible. I think you should completely move on from SML. I don't think you're a horrible person at all. Yeah, all of this is very criticizable and laughable. Overall, it's not on the same level as some of your peers. You should probably also stay away from critical and drama content for your own health. It really does not seem like you can handle that stuff properly. Try to do your own thing on YouTube. SpongeBob content, Half-Life, Nintendo stuff that shows your skills in a positive way. SML stuff only just makes you a bit of a laughing stock. You're allowed to still make videos, just not SML stuff. You're completely kicked out of that community at this point. I do feel kind of bad in a way. This whole dating a 12-year-old thing will probably forever just stick with him online. We'll probably always make fun of him for this, making it pretty hard for him to get genuine fans of him here on out. His YouTube career is close to being pretty much over when it comes to profitability, but he can still stay on the platform and make content specifically just for fun, though. He also just try to live off the internet. There was this one comment on his returning SML video that really describes what I'm trying to say here, albeit it's a bit harsh, but I get what they're trying to say. That was very sheltered, it seems. This isn't me just assuming or anything. No, his friends, people who are close to him, have said that he's very sheltered, lonely, does not have that much stuff going on for him outside the internet. I recommend living in the real world and just pump the brakes a bit on the channel. Maybe take 3 months offline, focus on progressing your life. Maybe you can finally meet that dream girlfriend you were raving about in your description of the perfect girl. When it comes to the SML community, it's all really bad state right now. Dominus is also having his own little drama while that stuff is going on. And I what you think he was known as bad was behind his dab. The way he reacted and handled the situation made him realize he just wasn't having fun in the SML community anymore. As a result of all of this, completely left the community. To make sure people would take him seriously this time, he deleted almost all of his SML videos, better his big SML video he made a while back. To be fair, it's not all gloom and doom. To be fair, the community is not all doom and gloom. Super Mario Nick is the only continuously remaining member of the Big Five. Super Mario Nick is kind of there just doing his own thing, and Mill City Reviews is a very promising upcomer. Let's hope he doesn't get himself into any drama or controversy since, my god, this community has had enough degens. Yeah. It's kind of funny that back in 2018, Logan was seen as a douche for not listening to SML reviewers, ignoring EDP and Zeke, and not adding them into the cast. But considering that EDP and Zeke are not doing so hard right now, to put it lightly, and almost all the SML reviewers back then either quit or, yeah, I figured it's safe to say Logan had the last laugh at the end of the day.
Wasn't reacting to SML, people would always bitch about it, saying if you don't react to this, then I'm gonna fucking find where you live and kill you or some shit. I'm like,
hey everyone, just wanted to say thank you for watching the video. The audio sounds a little weird, it's because I'm recording this outside. Yeah, but thanks for watching. Also, I apologize for the audio, I had to kind of wash this out.